welcome to the blog, Moretospacethanair with Ayomide Fejidemole. Today I have with me a mentor and a senior colleague in the field, Dr. Paola Breda. She's a systems engineer and project manager at iImpulse Technologies. Until December 2021, she was employed as a research aerospace engineer at the Bildungswehr University of Munich, Germany, where she successfully defended her PhD thesis in June 2021. Her primary field of research covered the combustion modeling for computational fluid dynamics, CFD, applications of turbulent reacting flows. She graduated from Politecnico di Milano, Italy, with a MSc Aeronautical Engineering with specialization in propulsion systems in 2014 and a BSc in Aerospace Engineering in 2011. She also graduated from the Space Studies program at the International Space University in Strasbourg, France in August 2021. With a specialization in space applications, policy, economics, and law. She currently collaborates within the Space and Cybersecurity Project Group of the Space Generation Advisory Council, SGAC. Thank you very much for making time out to be with me today. It's not every day you get to sit with space royalty. And I forgot to mention that you were distinguished with a summa cum laude in your PhD. Congratulations on that, Dr. Paola.
Thank you, Ayu. Thank you so much.
Let's get to it. So can you please introduce us to the real Paola Breda and lead us through your career in the space industry and any other interesting thing you might want to share?
Me here, Ayu. This is a very good initiative, so I totally support you. So you basically introduced me pretty well, and I can give you maybe some points about my career. As you can probably see, it was a little bit shifty here and there. I was also away from the space industry 2.5 years. But basically, what can I say about myself? So I'm Italian. I was born in Italy, close to Venice. I moved to Germany 10 years ago now because of this Erasmus exchange program that we have in Europe. And I've been always fascinated by space, aeronautics in general, since I was a child. That's why I decided to go and do my Bachelor and Master of Science at Politecnico di Milano, which is one of the biggest technical universities in Italy and well recognized also in Europe. And there I specialized in propulsion system. So actually my degree was Master of Science in Aeronautics first. But then when I moved to Germany, I got more into the space sector. And then I did my master thesis at the German Aerospace Center. And then I could have the opportunity to investigate some green propellant stuff. Doing at the test bench, it was an early project. And the purpose was to substitute, to find a sailing solution for substituting hydrazine, which is rather toxic, as some of you may know. Then I had a stop in my spacey career because, you know, I needed a job. So I picked a job as a software engineer and customer support in a software company. And that was for 2.5 years, but then I was really sad I was missing space. So I decided to come back doing a PhD in a German university, which is the Bundeswehr University. I know the name is difficult to pronounce, but you did it right, that's good. And yeah, I used some skills that I learned before in the industry for software development. So I was doing basically combustion modeling for, you know, maybe some of you may know, to reduce the computational time of a computational fluid dynamics simulation involving combustion of hydrocarbons. That was the main topic, which was a lot of nerdy stuff. So then in the end, I decided to move to the industry once I was ready. And this is how I got to iImpulse, doing the system engineering and project management now. And then by side with that, because combustion modeling can be tough, then I started to collect other activities around me. As Ayu said, I took part to the Space Study Program 2021. from the International Space University. But also last year, I went back another week for the Executive Space course in Strasbourg, which was also very interesting. It was more related to the business and management, also project in the space industry. And then I'm still following the guys now. I still have less time for them. I'm really sorry, but for the SGSC Space and Cybersecurity Project Group, we're still in touch and we're still working on some publication. Apart from that, yes, I also have a life, and I really love, I really love running, doing sports. What kind of sports? Winter sports, but I also enjoy holidays. So I love travel the world and meeting new people and new connections.
Thank you so much for that. I really liked everything that you said. Some things I could easily get, but some part there sounded so much like mathematics. I was like, what? What? So if you could just please explain to us what it means to be a systems engineer and a project manager.
A nice challenge, because usually if you go to, let's say, more traditional industry or like, because as you know, High Impulse is a startup. I don't know if you mentioned that, but it's a startup. So these two jobs are usually matched and merged into one only. And it's actually a common thing we do in small projects, if there are like a small group of people, 5 to 10. So let's try to describe these two separate roles, which are merged together. The system engineer knowledge involves the knowledge of the whole system, which can be a spacecraft, a subsystem, or also a launcher. It depends on which field you are, which project you are. And then when you have the knowledge of the system, you also interact. So you have to exchange information on the interface with other subsystem. And this is what we call requirements. So basically you make sure that the design is going as planned and is not deviating as much, because of course one subsystem may say, hey, I changed something, and then it's like, oh my God, it's going to destroy my part and I'm not in line anymore with my design. So I put it like this to have it laughing, but it's daily routine to discuss and create like a common point just to not deviate too much to the design. There are of course margin. So as you can see, there is technical knowledge behind, but it also requires some management, because you're also managing subgroups from other subsystems, but also requirements, which is important. And this comes along together with the project management skills, which is basically the common knowledge, what we know, organizational and management skills. So you prepare the schedule, the quality assurance, the budget, and all resources for your project. So it goes along also with the development plan of your system. So this is why actually for small project, and also in my position, the two of them are actually merged. So this is what I do every day.
That's good. So do you have any projects you've worked on that has been in space, or maybe part of a space project?
It's a good question. They are all on the way now. So they're not close. I am split also in two projects. Some colleagues have been working already because they joined the company before on one of the technology demonstrators, which is a sounding rocket. And in that sense, they're already on the production. So it's going to be launched soon. So I am supporting them for risk assessment, risk analysis, licensing, and this kind of safety analysis. So that is going to be real soon, let's put it this way. The other project that I follow when I'm project manager is actually at a very early stage in the feasibility phase, which means, let's say, we can have it real and tested in maybe 2-3 years. So the good thing, if you follow the whole project, and if it's small, you can really see when you start conceiving it, then you have the feasibility, then you have the design, and then you go to the test bench, and then you have a prototype. This is actually the best that you can see. And we are getting to that. We still need a couple of years.
Most definitely. Thank you so much for that. And I hear in what you've said that you really do need to develop competency, because in the industry where you play, you need to actually know what you're doing. So my next question to you was going to be, how did you develop competency to be able to do what you do? And for young professionals who are looking into getting into this niche area that you're practicing, what is your advice to them on the best way to develop competency?
Split into these questions. For my competency is it's rather tricky because in Italy, it's not a bad thing to say, but in Italy we focus at the university to having a career, but it's very theoretical. So we lack a little bit of, having internship and going directly to the industry and having hands-on projects. So I didn't get much apart from all, the theory behind and the studies from the university time. But what I got through my PhD and also by working a couple of years in the industry before was getting first knowledge about software, which was actually one of my core is more software skills than hardware skills. If you go to system engineering, it's more software related for me. And then during the, let's say from the organizational and management point of view, when you're doing a PhD, you have to force yourself to be organized and start manage your skills. It happened to us, so it really depends on your supervisor, on the type of project you're involved with your PhD. But in our case, we were given actually freedom. There was not too much guidance. There was like a broad topic of investigation. And then by doing that, I was able to define my path and start to think what I want, creating my own work packages and my deadlines, because otherwise you're completely lost. For the technical competency, I will say the kick was changing career and going from the university to the industry, but going to a startup. Because in a startup, you're really exposed to everything. There are plenty of things to do. It might be that, of course, there are less people, but the task is more or less the same to do. So you're shifted and sometimes you're seeing different topics, which makes you grow in several disciplines, let's say, which goes from project manager and then system engineer. Then you also do a little bit of business. So it's a variety. For me, it was just like changing to the startup, which gave me the boon. And for the young professional, maybe my next colleagues, I will say just be brave and dare to try, because sometimes it's like that. You plan to do something and then you see it goes wrong and maybe you'll be blocked, or maybe your expectations are too high and then you're feeling really bad for a while. But sometimes it's also true the opposite, that something unexpected may happen. You create a new connection, you go to a conference or you exchange information or you get a new job offer. So you never know. And of course, being lucky to be at the right place at the right time is very seldom. I really saw it in some people. They were very lucky, but it doesn't happen fast. So usually you have to change a little bit there, also some mindset, and then you will get it. So you will get competencies by moving around through these hurdles and finding your place in the industry.
Wow, thank you so much for that. And finding your place in the industry is so important, especially if you have a roadmap of things you want to achieve in such a little time. So my next question to you was going to be, how has it been? What has been your experience being a woman in STEM? For those who don't know, STEM means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So how is it been for you as a woman to play in this field that is so male dominated?
This is also an awesome question. It's tough. It really, you have to be a character. It drives through the years, and then you get some skills or qualities that you will not find in other girls that maybe, or women that maybe work in, together with other women in a different environment. So for my experience, being in aerospace engineering, already at the university, we were very few women, sadly. But we were very few, it's known. And so basically I've been working with men since 15 years now, in different environments, of course. It can be difficult because, of course, the mentality is also different, and the way we achieve the same task may be also different. So we are focused, let's say, someone is more focused on the quality, and someone else is more focused on the trade-off, on the balance. Like, okay, let's get this within this time, but maybe with this other workaround. So it's also a different mentality. And this is also a strength, because we know that there are, studies know, I do not know this because I'm an engineer, but studies know that men and women think differently and approach problems differently to get to the solution. And having women in the team also allows you to explore other solutions that sometimes can be even better. So this is actually a power. If we have more on that balance towards women, then you can increase this kind of solution in your team. So it's like, I think it's an advantage if you're a woman in STEM, because you can bring one extra point of view that otherwise wouldn't be there. Yeah. But on the other side, there are also some disadvantages, and my advice is just keep on doing, keep pushing, whatever you're doing, don't be afraid, because sometimes it's true, we feel ashamed, we are men dominated, so it's like sometimes even raising the hand might be a little bit embarrassing, but then of course everything goes well. That goes away through the years, but I remember when I was younger, like 10 years ago, like fresh from the university, then it's something that may affect you. Afterwards, it's fine. I also found my way through. And the main point is that if a woman is good, then she's good, and all the people will acknowledge you. It may take some time, so you may be a little bit embarrassed, but if you're good, then you will be acknowledged.
Thank you so much. And what you do matters. It really does, because not only are you giving women in STEM a voice, but you're also paving the way and showing us through your life how to achieve these things. My next question to you was going to be on your role as a research collaborator within the SGAC. And maybe if you wanted to touch about your current job with the startup as well. What are some of the things that you do, and what do you think those things you do, how do you think it makes a difference?
For the startup, I try to, since it's very dynamic and also keeps on changing, also the market keeps on changing, I try to do things and be focused and achieve goals so that they remain, because sometimes it's very easy, I mean, also in private life, to start with some private project, and then you just give up, just because you do not feel like you were before, but or it has not the importance that you gave it before. But my advice would be just continue with it, because if you started 1 year ago, then there must have been something in you that wanted to achieve this. And maybe, you know, the path is difficult now, you lost your focus, but then you still want to achieve this. So my idea is just like going to whatever I decided to, because at that point I try to make the best decision possible. So I do not want to get it lost, let's say. And this is actually one of the decisions which brought me to join this SGAC group, the Space and Cybersecurity Project Group. So I am just involved as a member, and there is still a good initiative, but I am lacking the time to follow up on this, which was related to a hackathon, and in the sense of making the public aware of cybersecurity, because it's actually a very important topic, but it's also complicated. It's not well explained, let's say, especially when applied to space system. So one very good initiative will be promoting these activities and try to make it clear to the public that it is important and it's not too difficult to understand, at least the main concept. And now, for example, with the Space and Cybersecurity Group, I am involved in researching, because it's a connection with what I was doing at the university. So I keep more the research part. And there was also a very interesting topic to address. For example, last year we investigated the use of artificial intelligence and cybersecurity in space, which is also autonomous system in space. It's also a hot topic, let's say. And the really good thing I like is that there is a very nice group dynamics, especially in SGSC, because it's young professional, but it's not that all the members are workers. So they might be working, there might be students, there might be professors. So it's a very a good variety, and you can get an insight of all aspects. And for me as an engineer, I could also have access and insight of the legal part, which sometimes we forget. So what I'm trying to do is like doing these activities to focus on other topics or like expertise that I do not have.
Wow, thank you so much. So I'm going to be asking my last question to you, which will be on engagement, especially for young professionals. What will you consider important for the young professionals coming into the industry to know?
The space industry is a special sector. So I will say the young professionals should get the idea that the space industry, whatever happens in the space industry, is not common to see otherwise in other industries. For example, automotive or even the aeronautics is different. And now I am talking more on the European context because I see things here, but overall, let's say that the space industry is also including a lot and relies on a lot of co-founded projects with governments. So it's not politically driven, but there are some political decisions behind, and it really depends on the mood. If they're like political crisis or other hot topics, then the focus might be shifted from the space industry towards something else. And then, of course, all of us, whoever is working on the space industry, have to adjust as well and face limitation in budget and resources. So it's kind of a little bit moody. It really depends on the political situations, not all of the time, of course. There is, as you probably know, this new space economy, which is actually booming and is shifting more the business towards commercialization of space and space activities, where I think we can have a good grip. So the young professional will probably, most of them fall into this category. The thing to make clear is that the space industry is not like creating a product like a spacecraft or a launcher in series, like in the automotive industry. Well, I must say, apart from SpaceX, they are doing greatly. But this is more or less in the other parts of the world, and this comes with some challenges. So the topics that you will face every day will not be boring at all, because it keeps on changing. And of course, as I was saying, it really depends on the actual project and also the political view of your region. So you will not be bored. This is very important that you know these three basic things, and then you will be good to go.
Thank you so very much for sharing that. Do you have any concluding remarks?
Well, I think I said pretty much everything, and I really hope to make it clear that the path you probably have one target in mind, where what you want to achieve within 10 years, 5 years, or whatever. You have dreams, and sometimes going through this dream, your path is just deviating. So you're like, it's a harder run. And the trick is not forgetting what your dream was, and then keep on pursuing this, because sometimes it's hard, sometimes it may be different, it may be go completely the opposite as you thought, and then you may lose, let's say, hope to reach whatever dream you have. But as I say, sometimes there are things unexpected, or you may take action to change. And I think the most important thing to say is like, continue to pursue your dreams. If you're a young professional, stay fixed and you will achieve what you want.
Thank you very much, Paola, for that. How can people connect with you if they have any comments or questions or opportunities they just want to run by you?
Oh, it's very easy. You could come to LinkedIn and find me, Paola Breda. I'm there. On the social network, I'm not. Yeah, in Facebook, I'm hidden. Instagram, I'm not there yet. But if you want to get me, then just go to LinkedIn. I will be there. Actually, answer very quick.
Okay, that's all right.
That's great.
Thank you very much. And on that note, we've come to the end of this interview with Paola Breda. Thank you very much again for honoring the invitation. And from us at Moretospacethanair, we wish you good luck and all the best in your future endeavors. Have a good one.